Are we going? Are we?
Hello,
Oh,
hello, and welcome back to the Bleacher Preacher podcast. Rob, who is this stranger we have with us today?
Who? We got somebody with us today? Normally it's
Apparently,
just us two.
is there a third guy? Did we get a third guy?
oh, do you smell what Ron Cal is cooking? What up, guys?
Are you the guy that pays the bills?
Yeah, I keep the lights on. That's it.
Huh.
Is this your first podcast of 2019?
I went back and
No.
actually saw March.
Yeah, I was like, it's been a while, but yeah,
March.
we've been doing it.
So, before we get started with the MLB and everything, fill us in on this company softball team. What are you guys looking like? And,
Oh, let me tell you guys about last week. Okay, so semifinal match, 50-50 play, ground ball to the shortstop. Man, this guy on the other team gets tossed for arguing with the umpire. Not only does he get tossed, it gets confrontational. And as the guy's leaving, he throws a cup at the umpire. Needless to say, it was a blasty blast to see. But yeah, we won that game and then lost in the final, so we got a trophy for runner up. But yeah, nobody wanted to take that shit home.
so where is the runner-up trophy right now?
If I'm not mistaken, my buddy James Walton, shout out to you, James, took it because he's moving to San Jose and wants it as kind of a memory thing. So as far as I know, it's with James.
Well, that's good to hear. I vaguely remember us trying to get a softball team together while at Nike, and I just know that would have just become an absolute disaster in its own regards. So
The buffoonery that would have happened and the freak injuries because somebody would have smacked into a wall or they can't run on turf and they would have just fallen and eaten crap. Do you know what? It's probably a better idea that we didn't do that because also like you and me would show up every single night when there's games and then we'd just be like, oh, we got a forfeit. No one else showed up.
sidebar: Alex did once punt the kickball in a company kickball game because he got picked off at first on some shady move by our manager,
Oh my God, I remember that. Yep.
and I had to
that
go
totally
get
happened.
it, and you just stood off to the side steaming.
I did. Thankfully, that didn't happen at all in softball because you can't really pick off. But also,
You can't pick off, you can't lead off. It is what it is.
but also this umpire did some shady, like, oh, our girl left early and she was out at second kind of thing this last Wednesday, and that kind of stuff irks me because how are you paying attention to that? You are one umpire.
Hey, you got to earn that $50 paycheck a game, however you can. So
He was a Mets fan. I was talking to him while I was hitting. He's a Mets fan from Long Island. I told him, oh well, that explains it.
all right, let's just get rolling with the with Major League Baseball. It's this season to this point has had its fair share of storylines, and we always find the entertainment and the little quirks and sidebars that make baseball hilarious. But just starting off on a serious note, the David Ortiz incident, where it was originally started off as a possible robbery, and then it turned into a hit, and now 10 plus people have been arrested, and it it's an investigation clown show going on down the DR right now. And for right now, Ortiz is in good shape. You never want to see your childhood idols on their deathbeds, so a part of me can breathe a little bit easier. But that that's just it. This whole story is just blowing me away, like detail by detail.
Okay, so
Okay,
no,
never mind.
no. I didn't know if Rob wanted to talk. I was going to give it an opportunity here. No, I completely agree. Now it came out today that he wasn't the intended target. It was one of the guys that he was with that was the intended target. So yeah, nobody knows what's fact or fiction right now. All we know is that 100% certainty is that David Ortiz got shot. He's recovering. He seems like he's going to have a full recovery. Don't know if you guys saw, but on Monday, the Twins did a really cool tribute to him. Well, when the Red Sox, well, they're still in town, but while they're in town, and then, yeah, I just, it's the same thing with like John had said. It's a really crappy situation to be in because, you know, I'll never ever own another Red Sox jersey in my life, but I have a David Ortiz Red Sox jersey. So
Not even
that
Pedro?
no, I will not get a Pedro jersey. I'd probably get like a Dominican Republic
If
Pedro
you had to choose
jersey.
between a Pedro Mets and a Pedro Red Sox.
Oh well, I hate the Mets, so you know it's going to be the Red Sox.
Okay. Okay, so
But yeah, so and so, you know, it's a bummer, but yeah, I think I mean gladly Ortiz, and maybe one day we'll get all the details, but for now he's healthy and or as healthy as he can be, and he'll be all right.
all right, so let's actually go into positive baseball news, and we're going to start with probably the most surprising and dominant team in the American League right now that someone in this group picked to win the American League back in March. Rob, what's up
Yeah,
with your Minnesota Twins?
Jorge Polanco is a front runner for the AL MVP. Max Kepler's had a really good season. Eddie Rosario's had a really good season. Nelson Cruz, Brandon brought his boomstick down to Minnesota, up to Minnesota, I would guess. Well, Seattle, Minnesota. He went parallel to Minnesota in elevation
He
wise.
went to the Great North Plains.
Yeah, pretty much. Jake Odorizzi somehow is one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball this year. I think his last 10 starts, he's 8-0 with like an under 1.5 ERA. So I mean, the Twins somehow have one of like the best lineups in the American League. They remind me of the Houston Astros a couple years ago when there was no easy outs 1 through 9. Byron Buxton, man,
This is the year Buxton puts it together.
he actually has put it together. He's always played a really solid center field defensively. Always has played a solid defensive center fielder, and he's got speed. He's hit some bombs this year that looked really really good. He's looked really good. He got hurt, so he's on an injured list for a little bit right now, but he'll be back. Team just like there's no weaknesses 1 through 9. It's crazy.
And I think they can still add at the deadline. We're going to go through some teams that should start looking to sell off here pretty soon, but I would expect the Twins to be buyers because they've proven this has been a legit good season for them thus far. And you don't want to necessarily just kind of get complacent and have guys kind of cool off. I think there's going to be good talent available for them to go after. So if I'm Minnesota, keep your eye out to bring somebody in.
Probably a bullpen piece. I'm guessing.
I think
Always hard to come by.
the most impressive thing is that the Twins have a 9-game lead on the freaking Indians.
Well, the Indians were going to be one of the more disappointing teams we talked about. Just out of curiosity, have any of you guys looked at Jojo Ramirez's stat lines for this season yet?
Yeah, he's under 200.
Yep.
He has been above and below the Mendoza line 6 times this year.
He is far underneath the Mendoza line.
He was third in MVP voting last year and had chatter to be considered MVP in the American League last year. And now, whew, just whew.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad stat line there, Jose. No, he's hitting 204 right now. Rob.
Oh, so maybe he had a hot stretch because
Seems like it.
last time I looked, he was at like 188.
I mean, still doing his thing the ways he can though. Has 16 stolen bases.
It's still far and below what we're expecting from him too. So he's going to have to get it together a little bit. But let's change gears here. I wanted to start off the podcast with this, but then I remembered I didn't want to start off with this kind of negativity on myself. The hospital Yankees are running away with the American League. American Least. Wow. The AL East. And they're doing it with the AAA team. And the Stars are coming back. Oh, dear. Alex.
I'm honestly so the one thing that's kind of crazy to me, and I was actually talking about with another Red Sox fan earlier today, is like like last year it seemed like every single close game that you guys were in, some way, shape, or form, the Red Sox would end up winning it. The complete opposite is happening now, where you saw it last night, right? You go up in the 13th. You go, what is it? Max Kepler ties it and then he walks it off in the 17th. So um, it's wild. It's the Red Sox are just in a bad streak, but it's kind of like I had alluded to all last year. Is like there was gonna eventually this team was gonna come down. It just took them a whole year, but yeah, it seems like they're hitting that rough patch. But I think for the Red Sox, you've got to just keep on doing what you're doing. Um, at least like to the naked eye, there's nothing for me that's just completely blatant. I mean, everyone's still producing. Yeah, JD went through a little bit of a stretch where it was kind of like, oh, okay. But I think the biggest piece of that whole team, and John, you know this better than I do, is Mookie. Mookie is such a perfectionist that he gets in his head whenever he's not performing to his ability. He's just got to keep level headed. You got to realize there's always a ball game tomorrow.
And I think with Mookie and me and Rob had discussed this back before the season started that there was going to be regression, not only with him, but the entire Red Sox team as well. Um, he performs at such a high level. Of course, it's going to be hard to maintain that pace and that production output. So whether it be him, JD Martinez, or any of the other stars on the Red Sox, yes, they were going to have natural regression. But the biggest issue far and away is your bullpen. I believe you're up to 11, 12 blown saves on the year right now when there was a perennial closer who was literally begging for work going into Memorial Day weekend. And I'm sure you guys have seen Craig Kimbrell is now on the Cubs, and we're going to get to that piece later. But you essentially cost yourself 10 plus games in the standings. And, we're sitting here now, I believe it's June 19th, and you're 5.5, 6 back. Those blown saves have now kind of put you in that weird position where you kind of have to now play above expectations just to keep pace with a Yankee team that's getting all their major pieces back.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I agree. That team is gonna be tough. It's always funny to see, you know, the Red Sox implode a little bit for me. I get a little personal joy about it, but yeah, I mean, look, you look around that bullpen, nothing really is flattering. The most reliable guy is right now is I believe Brandon Workman, and out of the Red Sox only have, let's see here, what is it, 15 saves the entire year. Um, which yeah, we're we're up to games like 70. So if you think about it, like yeah, they're blowing people out or their starting pitchers have to go the entire way through it. But I'll be honest with you. I picked up Brandon Workman as kind of a hold machine because I know what he can do when he gets on the mound, and so far he's been working out for me.
Someone's got to get the saves and the production out of that bullpen, so they got work to do. We all can't have Yankee-type bullpens, Alex. I don't know if you know this. We just can't have we not everyone can have it. And then when you trade and acquire all the closers, I mean, nobody else can have them.
I mean, if somebody wants to come knocking, we're looking for probably another arm in the starting rotation. So, uh, any GMs that are listening to this, we're open.
So would you want them to go after, say, Scherzer, Bumgarner? Who else has been like? If you could get Felix Hernandez, would you go after that?
Depends on what's offered the other way, but I think Bummy would be a great pickup for the Yankees. I think if we get down to that August deadline and the whole waiver deadline, whatever, he may come to New York. But yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be what it is. I think the recent moves that the Yankees have made has kind of made it seem like Cashman is just kind of like kind of just waiting in the sidelines, waiting for something to work here. I think that's why you see a guy like Clint Frazier get brought down to AAA. I think that's why you see a Mike Tauchman. They may be trading chips later on, or guys that you're going to see in the majors because of moves that they make. Fun fact: I know that people were throwing out the whole like, oh, why don't the Yankees just have what is it, 12 pitchers on the roster? There's only 4 teams in the majors that do that, and they all suck.
I believe the
so
Rays do it, and it works for them.
I thought it was like the Giants, the Mariners, the Mets, and there was maybe the Rays were the fourth team. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. It's but yeah, no. In this day and age, in 2019 Major League Baseball, it just doesn't make sense to have 13 pitcher or 12 pitchers on a roster. So yeah, I mean, I think Cashman may be working on something and may finagle someone out of another pitcher. I mean, look, I'm also looking at guys like Jimmy Nelson.
Well, and I was going to say, you said Cashman's waiting for something to fall into his lap. He basically had Edwin Encarnacion like hand delivered to his front door. That's a man that's capable of putting up 40-plus home runs in a season, and he's now playing in a Little League park.
Yeah,
He's already halfway there.
I don't know who the heck Juan Ten is, but thank you. Congratulations. See you later. And cash considerations, the Mariners apparently need that. I don't know.
That was
But
the only reason he went to New York. I think the Rays and the Astros had offers on the table, but New York ate most of the salary. So that's one of the reasons why the New York trade went through.
hey, I'm okay with it. Edwin looks good in pinstripes, though he does look weird without a beard.
Like the parrot thing, man. I'm sorry, that's just going to drive me absolutely insane when he hits like a go-ahead 3-run home run in the bottom of the eighth because we are relying on Brandon frickin' Workman.
Like I said, I like Brandon Workman. But yeah, the walk the parrot thing, when he hit a home run yesterday, everyone did it, and I was like, okay, that's okay.
Regardless, I think the Yankees, they did the smart thing. Not even the smart thing. They were, what's the word I'm looking for? Not only holding it down, but playing as well as they did, far above expectations. They've set themselves up for a very easy second half, and as long as they don't screw it up down the stretch run, they'll be right back in the playoffs, probably fighting for home field advantage because right now I believe it's them and the Astros, the Twins, actually currently hold the number one seed in the AL right now. So
it's close.
A lot's going to change, and we know that much for sure. But I was really, really hoping they would stop winning by now, and they just won't. They just keep winning.
Yeah, Minnesota's at 48-24. Houston's at 48-26. And New York's are just a tick behind 45-27. Then it'd be Tampa Bay and it'd be Boston in the wild card game. That'll be crazy matchup.
And Blake Snell goes 8 shutout innings, gives up 2 hits, and I gotta realize a team with a minimum wage payroll just bounced you out of the playoffs.
Hey.
If
we took Blake Snell out in the first inning this game.
If the wild card game is in Tampa, how many people show up?
Easily 25,000 Red Sox fans because they always draw well in Tampa. Same with the Yankees.
Their average attendance is what, like 15K? They might get 15K Rays fans in there, but it's probably going to be home field advantage for Boston, 100%.
Again, hopefully a lot changes here in the second half, and that bringing up the Rays, I don't see them dropping off either. They always find a way to bring their talent to perform above expectations. A lot's going to change here in the second half, or going into the second half, and hoping things figure themselves out, but keep my fingers crossed. Let's cross over to the NL side of things. Rob, we got to hang out with the Dodgers and the Cubs this weekend. Pretty fun.
Very, very good pitching matchups, all 4 gams. John Lester, Kershaw, that was a really good duel. Hendricks versus, was it Kenta Maeda? I don't remember who pitched game 2, but Kyle Hendricks was on the bump. Game 3 was lights out pitching-wise. Watching Darvish and Walker Buehler just mow people down, fun. Best part of that was the 9th inning. Oh, man. Oh, the 9th inning.
Don't send the closer out on back-to-back days. They send him out. Rizzo hits one to El Segundo, and then he almost blows the save the next day, Sunday, by working 3 straight days.
Yeah, the Verdugo make a really nice catch on sliding catch. Javi hit it a little bit too hard. A bloop single would have scored a run. Hit it right on the buttons, and Verdugo was able to make a sliding catch. Game 3, man. Yeah, I was silent literally the whole game, just sitting there. It was nice just watching a pitching duel. Everything went breezing by, but
It
just
was
hearing.
it was a good paced game. Like that was entertaining for 2-1 because we were paying attention to every at bat. Like, let's see how he works this batter. And credit to me and you for calling out the gentleman sitting next to us because the Cubs offense only came alive when he got up and left.
He
And that
got
goes
up.
to my next point.
He got up, got a beer, and Bodie. I think Bodie walked, and like Addison. No, it was somebody. It was like 2 hits, and he came back, and then the inning ended. And then like the next inning, he like went somewhere. Bodie got a walk. He came back, and Addison Russell grounded into a double play. And then he left for the bottom of the ninth. He left for the bottom of the ninth or the top of the ninth. Bryant comes up, gets hit. Rizzo launches 2-run homer. We got the lead.
Oh, the best part, dude, was the sound, and we knew that thing was gone as soon as it left his bat because he left that pitch middle in, and you can't do that to Rizzo.
He threw 3 straight balls, had to throw a strike, left it middle in, right where Rizzo likes it, crushed it. The hush that fell over the stadium. Oh, the best.
That
the
is
best.
I am hoping that is a playoff series because you will find all 3 of us, hopefully, in Dodger Stadium for that one because that was good playoff quality baseball.
I'll be there. I'll be there. NLCS, Dodgers, Cubs, I'll be there.
But I think
the
good thing for you, Rob, was the redemption of Yu Darvish. He got to go back to Dodger Stadium where he lost Game 7 of the World Series and probably pitched his best game as a Cub.
Pretty much. That was probably his best game in the Cubs. I've been talking to you for a while about how the next Cubs game we're probably going to go to is going to end up being Yu Darvish versus somebody, and he's going to throw 7 wonderful innings, which that's what happened. He threw 7 wonderful innings, made 1 mistake, struck out 10, only walked 1 batter, and made 1 mistake. Gave up 2 hits. 1 was a home run. Alex Verdugo, who crushed it. I think it was the longest home run that's been hit in Dodger Stadium in like the last 3 years. So 1 mistake, got out with the win. No, actually, he didn't get out with the win. Oh man, that sucks. I think he has like 8 straight no decisions or something like that. That's crazy. Too bad we couldn't get Yu Darvish the win, but Cubs got the win as a whole, so no worries there. Other than that game we went to, they've had a tough time on the road. They had a tough time in LA, lost 3 or 4. It's just, tough times away from Wrigley. I think they have like one of the worst records on the road and one of the best records at home.
I would also say when they're close losses like this, it's not necessarily a talent deficiency. It's baseball, man. Sometimes those 1-2 run games, you just need those couple hits to fall your way. Like you said, Javier Baez on Sunday, he gets solid contact. He hits it, just like you want to, but it just happens to be right to the center fielder. So I don't think
the Cubs have also blown 12 saves. So right with the Red Sox, the Cubs have blown 12 saves. If Milwaukee loses today, the Cubs are in first place by half a game. Right now it's tied 40-33 the record. If Milwaukee loses, Milwaukee lost tonight. Milwaukee lost to San Diego.
The Padres today.
Yeah. The Cubs are in first place. The Cubs just are back in first place right now with 12 blown saves. So we get Craig Kimbrell on the mound probably in 2 weeks. I would probably think July 1st is kind of the timetable is when he's going to be up in the majors, and hopefully, there's no more blown saves. I'll take 1 or 2, but not 12.
So
wow.
We expect the NL Central now to be a dogfight down the stretch here. Do you think the Cubs are equipped to, now that they have a bona fide closer, to take the division back?
I think they need another lefty in the pen, and Kyle Schwarber's done a really, really good job in the leadoff hole. I would want them to trade for it. I would want them, honestly, to trade for Whit Merrifield. I would want them to go get Jake Diekman and Whit Merrifield. from the Kansas City Royals. That solves the two problems. That solves your lefty as well as it solves a second baseman and a leadoff guy. I can't watch every day. No, David Bodie's been really good. He's been better this year than he was last season. In the same amount of bats this season than he has last season, he's got more doubles, less strikeouts, more walks, more RBIs, more home runs. He's just been better this season, so that's a good option at second base, but he doesn't play every day. I'm sick of seeing Daniel Descalso. I'm sick of seeing Chris Bryant in the outfield. I'm sick of seeing Addison Russell at second. I just want an everyday second baseman to lead off. Schwarber's been good in the leadoff position, but I think Whit Merrifield would set this team up. Whit Merrifield and Jake Diekman, that's a trade I want to see them go out and get.
He's got a specific request, so let's jump into some trade scenarios, huh? I'm looking at the New York Mets again. It's not going to happen this year in typical Mets fashion. And I think if you want to call the Mets and ask, hey, Edwin Diaz, his stock's sliding off a little bit. He's had a rough go of it so far. What can we do to get him in?
I think he's still controllable. He's still pretty young, and he came off an excellent season last season with the Mariners. It'll take a while to get Edwin Diaz. I think a couple closers that are on the market, in my opinion, it's probably
Will Smith from the Giants, who could be easily obtainable.
Will Smith, Sean Doolittle with the Nationals. If the Nationals keep sliding and becoming, same record as the Mets, being that team that's fighting for third. Brad Hand with the Indians. If the Indians keep falling, if the Twins keep playing hot and they're good, and the Indians keep sliding, Brad Hand will be somebody that you would honestly need to go after as well. Felipe Vasquez with the Pirates would be somebody that you would also need to go to. The Pirates are fighting with the Cincinnati Reds of who's going to be in last place. So those are three dominant lefty closers that probably are on the market that you can go and get. And all three, I believe, are under club control as well.
And I've always felt that it just takes one chip to kind of fall to kind of set the bar for the market. Who's going to be that team that overpays or just does something grossly stupid and probably screw it up for the rest of us? So that's what
when you look at the contenders, the Cubs need a lefty, but they just got Kimbrel. They're not going to trade for Brad Hand or Vasquez or anybody like that. I mean, it would be nice if they got one of those dominant lefty closers and have two guys like that, but that would be paying a premium. Now, the Nationals, the Phillies and the Braves might take a run at one of them. The Braves have a ton of young talent that they could probably ship out. Somebody like Austin Riley, who's been really, really good, who's probably going to be the everyday third baseman next season. He could potentially be had. Johan Camargo you could probably go out and get Johan Camargo. You could probably get one of their young pitching prospects, or Christian Pash, the outfielder that's in the top 50 top prospects. You could probably go out and get one of them. And the Braves really need a closer. They've used AJ Minter. They've lost Arodys Vizcaíno for the year, and then he got traded. So Vizcaíno's not even in the team anymore. They're using Luke Jackson right now, who's got a 3.5 ERA. So the Braves will probably be somebody that'll go after. The Dodgers, other than Kenley Jansen, who's not been dominant this year, they do need bullpen help. So the Dodgers might be somebody that'll go after some. But other than those two teams,
Joe Kelly too, and I think they're trying to see if it'll figure itself out. But it's been bagged returns so far.
Kelly's been really bad this season, so they're still looking for help. Those are the only really 3 teams in the NL that'll go after some bullpen help, and only 2 of them might actually go after one of the top guys. And then in the AL. The Yankees and the Rays don't really need bullpen help. The Twins maybe would want to go out. They got guys that have had good seasons. They just don't have one dominant closer. Houston has a great bullpen as well. Presley, Will Harris, and Roberto Osuna, if they come down 7, 8, and 9, the game's over, because all 3 of them have an under 2 ERA. I think Presley's given up 2 earned runs the whole season, which makes no sense. And then Boston, of course, needs bullpen help badly. That's about it. There's not a ton of demand for closers, and there's probably 3 or 4 really good ones out there that could be had.
And I think that's what makes the baseball trade deadline so interesting, because you'll see teams just try and like fill needs on these low risk, low reward guys. But sometimes when it's a big glaring need, i.e., a Red Sox bullpen, they're going to have to pay. You have to pay top dollar somehow, and they don't exactly have a deep wallet to use for trade assets right now, because let's face it, your prospect pool is shot and all your talent's at the major league level. So if you're going to want to make a decent move, you're going to have to actually pony up a roster player.
And so, yeah, I completely agree with both of you guys. Do you guys think there's a market? There's a question that, because kind of something that Rob said, it kind of alluded to it. Do you guys think there's a market for like Ender Inciarte? I know he's hurt right now, but do you think that like it just hasn't panned out for him there in Atlanta?
I think it could be had because like they could play Austin Riley at left, and they could play Acuna in center, and they can play Marquez in right field and be perfectly happy. You could probably have Inciarte. Honestly, I think they'd be willing to trade him, and that's a guy.
I think it's just, I don't know, like I know that before maybe it was his injury, but I just feel like he hasn't panned out as the way that Braves thought he would this year, and so yeah, I think there's somebody out there that would be willing to take a risk on someone like that.
Yeah, I mean he's 2 seasons removed from like a 180 hit season. He's got a Gold Glove out there in center. Like he'd be a good fit on like a team that needs a defensive center fielder. Like he'd be perfect on like the Indians. He like Ender Inciarte for Brad Hand would be like a good swap, and maybe you throw in one of the pitching prospects that the Braves have, and then you throw in like maybe a Tukey, or you throw in like maybe Kyle Wright, maybe you probably not Freed, not Soraka, maybe like a Tukey or a Gohara, and Ender Inciarte for Brad Hand. I think that'll be a good trade.
There's actually been, I don't know if the Padres actually do it, but I've really loved Kirby Yates this season. Do you think it will be? Do you think there's a chance they'll go back-to-back years of coughing up closers?
Kirby Yates has been completely dominant. It would have to be like the Red Sox would have to offer Rafi Devers and Michael Chavez to get Kirby Yates. Like it would have to be that kind of offer for them to trade Kirby Yates.
That's a joke. I don't think the Red Sox do that move, but no,
Yeah.
I think you're right. They would have to offer something like that in order for them to like even consider it. But yeah, Kirby Yates came over there from the Yankees, so maybe if he would have stayed, he would have panned out and added been another arm for us.
Kirby Yates has probably been the best closer in the NL this season. He might be the best closer in all of baseball this season, to be honest with you. He's been that good this season.
All right, let's throw a change up into all this, guys. Let's look at some of the young studs from this from the season so far. Doesn't necessarily have to be a rookie, but which young players caught your eye so far this year?
Pete Alonso's been really good for the Mets. Chris Paddock's been really good for the Padres, and they're limiting his innings now. So he's coming off ACL. No, he's coming off Tommy John. Wrong major injury. And then for the Braves, Austin Riley's hit. The Pirates have a Reynolds. That kid's been really good. Who else has been good? Young guys. Fernando Tatis Jr. has been really good. I mean,
that'd be mine.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of young talent that's making its way up, and we're excited to see it. A lot of young talent, a lot of good ones.
I'm gonna mention Tatis's teammate. I don't know, he's 27, but we just kind of started hearing more about him. Hunter Renfroe just kind of came out of nowhere. Already has 23 homers.
So there was a joke that me and Rob had going for a little bit. I was like, "Oh, Hunter Renfroe looks good today." He's like, "The Clemson receiver or the outfielder?" And then we couldn't figure out like who spelled their name which way and who was what until I had to Google. I'm like, "Huh, they names sound exactly the same, but yet both are spelled entirely different."
Yeah, well, you wanted the Patriots to draft Hunter Renfroe for the longest time, and I was like, well, Hunter Renfroe can probably shag a couple balls since he's had experience in the outfield, but I don't know if he can run those intermediate routes.
Can he run a bang route off play action? I don't know.
He could probably hit a curveball.
The football guy ends his name with a W.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the outfielder is now in part-time duty with Framel Reyes, who is, again, built like a cyborg.
Well, they've combined for 42 home runs. Framil Reyes has 19, Hunter Renfroe has like 23.
We even said last year, if this guy learns discipline, he'll be good. He's the modern incarnation of Pedro Serrano from Major League.
It wasn't even that. It was like he just needs to sell out more for home runs. Just sell out for every fastball and make contact. I saw him take John Lester like 470 to deep center. It's like this man is no joke.
There's got to be someone out there, whether it's in the actual major leagues or maybe minor leagues, that has a Jobu in their locker. There has to be.
Oh, without a doubt. Like, some weird, not mural, but what are those things called? Not a ritual, a shrine. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, there's got to be a Jobu out there, and someone's is like, this is my bat. Do not touch it.
Who's disappointed you guys so far this year? It can be a team or a player.
Jose Ramirez and the Indians. 100%.
Alex?
Oh man, you're gonna make me think about this for a second.
Mookie Betts and the Red Sox.
That's the easy answer.
Him, though, it makes his job easier.
Look, Red Sox fans spent all of last year telling me Mookie Betts was the best player in baseball, better than Mike Trout. And it's like, yeah, he had a better season on Mike Trout last season, barely, but he's not better than Mike Trout.
What do you speak to? Because I won't even say that.
Oh, it's a lot. You maybe not, but the majority of the Red Sox contingent online, 100%. Yeah, Mookie Betts is the best player in baseball, hands down.
That's section
before.
10, they're like blind followers. They'll just believe anything those three guys say. I listen to the show. I like it, but I'm like, okay, guys.
Mookie Betts had a really, really good season last year. He deserved MVP. He was better than Mike Trout last year, but just proclaiming that he is the best player in baseball off of one season was not. And you guys won the championship, so honestly, all that was worth it. All the trash talking, all the posturing and everything. Everything's worth it, but
he didn't even bat 200 in the World Series.
Yeah,
a lot of people forget that.
And he has a good season this year as well, so it's not like he's been terrible. He's just not Mike Trout level.
So before I get to the guy that's disappointed me the most, I'm going to say about the guy that's impressed me the most. Thank you, Lance Lynn. Thank you for going to Texas and being lights out down there. I don't know how the hell you did it, but you did it. And then my most disappointing guy, even though he is 6-1, you look at his numbers and they're so bad. Aaron Nola, just gaudy numbers. His ERA is a 4.89. WHIP is a 150. And I think he only has 6 quality starts and 15 starts, so you just thought he was going to be better. I think that's really my biggest thing is I just thought he was going to be better than this, considering he had an amazing year last year.
Everybody in 1, 2, 3 from the Cy Young has not been a good season. Scherzer just literally broke his nose and had to pitch with a broken face. He was dominant, but he broke his nose, and the Washington team has not been good. The Washington team has had the worst bullpen in the majors. So if Matt Scherzer doesn't dominate, it's not good for him. Matt Scherzer has 2.8 ERA. He's pitched really good this season. He's 5-5. And then DeGrom as well. DeGrom as well has struggled. DeGrom was amazing his last start too. He went 8 1/3 or something like that, and he destroyed. Yeah, he went 8 1/3 against Atlanta, and then Freeman and Donaldson took him back to back. DeGrom's he's got a 3.2 ERA and he's 4-6. So everybody 1, 2, 3 in the Cy Young voting NL last season has struggled mightily.
Regression. And that's all we can really chalk it up to, because you can even toss Chris Sale into that, because he's put up strikeout numbers, but I believe his record is sitting at 2-7 with an ERA north of 3.5, if I'm not mistaken.
He's looked better in the past, couple months. Past couple starts.
He's pitching himself almost into, I don't want to say shape, but into rhythm, because April and May were a little rocky, but you've seen him settle down a little bit, and 2 immaculate innings this year is pretty impressive in my eyes.
He's still filthy. Like,
There are some games where I'm like, oh, that's the Chris Sale I remember. So when they come out here to San Diego, I'm hoping I see a Chris Sale start because I am printing out at least 15 pages of sailboat emojis. Instead of K's, I'm going to hold up, sailboats because, Chris Sale.
We get it, John.
well, in the month of June, he's thrown 22 innings and only given up 2 earned runs over 3 starts. So, like, Chris Sale is starting to heat up.
Granted, I think 2 of those are against the Orioles. So
No, Kansas City, Texas, and the Orioles.
That was one. And then, the Texas one. That was that was the Colorado game where he struck out 17 and they still lost.
Yeah, well, and then the month of May, he had a 2.8 ERA, which it isn't bad at all. And he had one bad start. It was the one against the Yankees when he only gave up like 4 earned runs, which isn't devastating. It's really like the first month of the season when he had a 6 ERA. That was the bad month, the month of April. May and June, he's been better. So, like, if we look at May plus June totals, he's 5-4, and he's got a 2.09 ERA over 60 innings for the last 2 months. So the last 2 months has been good. He struggled the first month, sure, but the last 2 months have been really good for him.
And it is a welcome relief to me because God knows that rotation needs some kind of anchor right now because after Sale and Price, Porcello's up and down. You're still waiting for Eovaldi to come back, and that 5th spot is still left open. So we keep circling back to the goddamn Red Sox. Man.
I mean, we could circle back to the Cubs if you want to.
We can always circle back to the Cubbies. Probably it's got to be, if not the best, top 3 traveling fan bases because every Cubs game I've gone to has been overwhelmingly dominated by Cubs fans.
Well, the Dodger game was a little bit more. It was sold out though. It was like 50,000 people in that stadium, which was crazy. Like I think every seat in the house was
all. I let me shame the Dodger fans real quick. I saw way too many people leaving in a close ball game at the top of the 9th. That is inexcusable. Even before your team started losing. And then when the Dodgers blew the lead, they just started heading straight for the exits.
It was very quiet. A lot of people left. Yes.
I felt like we were being really loud, but it was just that quiet.
Yeah, after Rizzo hit the home run, I was standing up and yelling. Like I was hyped. I waited all game for something good to happen. I was just sitting there being a good soldier, just sitting there like, all right, well, Walker Buehler's got a no-hitter going through in the 6th. Oh, we got a hit. Cool. All right.
He just threw 98 in the 7th. My goodness. To put it in perspective, Alex, I haven't seen a ball travel like the Rizzo home run since Josh Hamilton's home run in 2013. And we knew
that ball was loud.
Between that and the Trumbo bomb, like those are baseballs that were not coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've seen those both in person. It was pretty bad.
Disappeared into the night. Wow. Well, the Verdugo one that was hit earlier, that one was 460. It didn't look 460, didn't sound like 460, but it went 460. And
it was on like a straight line. That was about it.
Yeah, it was frozen rope. It was crazy. But I mean, when we went to San Diego, we saw Schwarber and Javi obliterate a ball. So I mean,
Javi was more impressive because deep center and Petco, that's not a cheapie. And he was waiting for that pitch to come to him. I think it was
that was Hap. That was Hap that went deep center.
It was
Javi went Oppo. Javi and Schwarber both went Oppo.
Oh, that's right, because his did go to right field because I remember looking towards the T-Mobile sign.
Yeah, I remember the right fielder jumping up, missing it, and they going in the strands, and then the whole crowd chanting Javi. Yeah.
Great times, great times.
Man, I wish I was there. Thanks for the invite, guys.
We got plenty of other baseball festivities planned for the summer, sir, so don't worry. It will come.
I've been to 3 California stadiums when the Cubs have been there, and the Cubs are 3-0 in the 3 California stadiums that I personally went to.
Alex, we haven't recorded since our San Francisco trip. What is your review of Oracle Park?
It's amazing. I mean, the Yankees own it, but it's amazing.
That's next on my hit list. I'm probably gonna like spend a weekend out there, just like catch a Cubs game on Saturday, and then spend Sunday rock fishing. Maybe rent a kayak, get out into the bay, grab some salmon, like smoke some salmon. That'd be a perfect weekend. Fly back Sunday night.
Well, me and Alex know a guy that just apparently can walk into any building in I don't the wharf, I guess is what you call in San Francisco. We're just
I
going
don't
from
know.
patio to patio, and this guy's like, "Oh yeah, this is my startup company. It's okay. We can totally chill on this deck and pregame up here."
I mean, I'm not going to complain. It was
Oh no,
beautiful
no, it was
weather.
fantastic. Like I was like, well, what am I not doing right? What do I need to do to get these kind of perks?
Yeah, hopefully next season when the Cubs do visit the Bay Area, it lands on the weekend, so I can take a weekend and go out there.
It is it's a very it's like a very visitor friendly ballpark. It's easy to get in and out of.
Very picturesque.
Very picturesque. Right fields, obviously where the water is, everything. It gets, I don't want to say cramped, obviously, because it's just weird because you forget you're in the ballpark because there's like nothing around you but the water. But that sight line there and just the visuals of it is amazing.
You could literally go fishing like across the bay. Like
And
there's fish in that bay.
and it's wild that baseballs have landed that far away from that water.
Yeah, well,
He told Pat and Bumgarner to go fish it out of the ocean. I think that's been the best like one-liner this season.
that ball was crushed.
Oh, he obliterated it. My goodness. My goodness. Any other notes from the baseball season thus far, gentlemen? What's
who's your AL MVP? Because right now I got Jorge Polanco. If we're being like totally honest, it's Jorge Polanco. Jorge Polanco or Mike Trout, and Mike Trout's won enough, and we know how good Mike Trout is. So I'm kind of like, yeah, Mike Trout.
He's so good that we don't even like. It's like he's having another Trout year. We're like, oh wait, that's MVP caliber, but it's just ho hum for him. So it's like he's almost the right-in if there's nobody else. So
he had a 2-run home run today and a grand slam today, and he's like his OPS is like 1,300 over the last 10 games or something crazy like that. But like Mike Trout, you're going to the Hall of Fame. You don't need more MVPs. So like give it to somebody else. You're literally going to be a Hall of Famer if you retire tomorrow. So Mike Trout, don't worry about it. Mike Trout. You should worry about championships. No more individual awards for Mike Trout. MVP, I'll give out to Jorge Polanco. The big thing is like the NL MVP. You taking Yelich? You taking Bellinger?
Belly.
Yeah, I think I go with Belly.
When we were at the Dodger game, I was fearful for the Cubs whenever Bellinger came up to bat.
That was the only guy when like what was it? The bottom of the ninth when Stroke came on. I was like, well, Bellinger's up, but luckily there's nobody on base, so he can only tie the game. I laid back in my seat and I was like, yeah, well, he can only tie the game. So I mean, free baseball's cool.
Man. Who do you like so far, Alex, for MVPs?
I said in the AL. I mean, I think right now, yeah, I have to give it to Polanco. Just his stat line's pretty disgusting. I mean, my personal MVP is Giovanni Urshela. And then in the NL, yeah, for sure, Bellinger. It's got to be Bellinger.
Oof.
Yelich can make a run. Arenado's been really good. The NL MVP is pretty exciting.
I think the NL race as a total is going to be fun. Like, I know we bang on the Dodgers a lot, but right now their staff is lights out right now. If they shore up the back end of the bullpen, I think they'll be okay. I think their lineup's good enough. But I think all in all, I think we're going to see some teams kind of start separating themselves from the pack. We mentioned the Yankees getting healthy, the Red Sox kind of stabling things out. The NL Central is going to be a fun watch with the Brewers, Cubs, and the Cardinals are still lingering around.
No, they're not. The Cardinals are trash. Also, the Astros are literally like as hurt as the Yankees are. Like Altuve, Correa, and George Springer have all missed a significant amount of games.
But they did call up their top prospect who just only believes in hitting 500-foot bombs. My
Jordan Alvarez isn't their top prospect. They have another hitter and a pitcher that was projected to be better than him. And Jordan Alvarez comes up and his OPS is like 1,300 over the first like 5 games. So it made literally no sense. And they're getting Altuve and Springer and Correa back. The Astros are going to be tough.
His home runs are legitimately. It sounds like when a train hits a cattle.
Yeah, it's light tower power. It's awesome.
Can never get enough of those. Alex, what are you expecting from Aaron Judge now that he's going to come back from injury?
I don't know. Home runs, strikeouts, really 2 results. Really, I mean, there's only 2 results that are going to happen here.
Is Clint Frazier going to report for work in Scranton?
Nah.
Can he even make, like, is he upset that he has to move his penthouse full of shoes down to BFE, Pennsylvania?
Sure.
Maybe that's why it's taking him so long to get there. He's like sitting in his New York apartment trying to figure out what shoes he needs to bring to Scranton.
Yeah, maybe. That's actually. Yeah, he's like, okay, I gotta take the Travis Scotts. Okay, those are going.
All right. Rob, what was the best beer we tried over the weekend?
I don't know. I like the second place we went to. What was that? Indie Brewing Company?
The one with the Game of Thrones references?
Yeah, the 2 Game of Thrones beers are really good. The Breaker of Chain and the Wolf Plus Cub beer were really good. The Irish Stout that I got was actually a really good like Irish beer. Like it made me proud. I don't know why I like Irish beer so much. Like, because I'm nowhere close to being anything remotely close to being Irish or anything like that. But I enjoy a good Irish beer, and they had 2 good Game of Thrones beers and a good Irish beer. So I think that would be the best one, in my opinion, was the Indie Brewing Company, I believe it was.
I did enjoy the 2 places we went to before the game. I wasn't too impressed with the ones afterwards. The ones
the ones afterwards were okay. I think we need to try more beer. We went to 3 afterwards, and we got a beer at each of them. So I think maybe a couple more different ones. The one that had the taco stand though, that was probably really good. The dollar tacos, those were really good.
Give me 5 of them, thanks.
Yeah, I had had carne asada. I did not know they had pastor. Missed out on that. It's all good though.
Oh god, always a great weekend with baseball. Any leftover points, gentlemen, before we get going?
Just excited for the second half. Just excited. We're in the dog days of baseball.
It's baseball's time to shine until basketball.
Did you say dog?
Up. We got. Speaking of dogs, apparently in Los Angeles, taking your dogs out is part of your night, like your nightly routine, because all the breweries and bars we went to, there were people with their dogs. And
well, we started going to a lot more. Everything started going a lot more hipster and hipstery, as the night started going through, and it started getting more hipster, and then we called it a night soon after. The last place, I was like, yo, there's dudes walking dogs all over. It's time to call it a night, gentlemen.
Wrap it up.
The last note that I will give is congratulations to our boy Brendan Stott, UNLV guy, DO guy, for getting drafted to the Phillies. Excited to see how he turns out. The 17th overall, we'll take it.
A few years. He can be on the major league. Give him, I would say, 4 or 5 years, and he could be on the major league roster.
I'm okay with that.
All right, gentlemen. Well, it was wonderful catching up with baseball. We want to thank you guys for listening to the Bleacher Preacher podcast. You can find the show on YouTube under our name, Bleacher Preacher Podcast. We're on most major podcast networks, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, the Apple Podcast Network as well. We are also on Twitter and Instagram, Bleach Preach Pod and Bleach Preacher Podcast as well. Myself, you can find me on Twitter at Jonathan_R. Gentlemen.
Rob_BPP.
Alec or Roncal33 BPP.
We're all working on the blue check mark, so that'll probably be the next crusade.
Hey man, I got 600 likes on something I tweeted the other day. I'm coming up.
The World Cup. Good job, Alex.
You're welcome.
Just look at your phone like, wait, what?
What's wrong with this?
It was such an innocuous tweet. It was like, yeah, Alex Morgan for president.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good tweet. I like that.
A lot of people agree with this. I'm a trendsetter now, but thank you guys for tuning in. Be on the lookout. We have the NBA draft coming up later this week, along with just the NBA in absolute upheaval and civil war. So probably some emergency episodes coming here soon. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.